The Los Angeles Lakers are apparently in the pursuit for Andre Drummond, according to Mark Stein, a reporter for New York Times. It appears that Andre Drummond has the Lakers high on his list and that they could be contending when it comes to the big men in the buyout market, because with that contract, it would be a little bit difficult for them to trade for, but if he were to be buyout, then he can sign for a veteran's minimum with the Lakers, and he could be used as a backup center or possibly even a starting center role when it comes to the Los Angeles Lakers. Before we get into today's video, yo, what is up, guys? It is your boy, and I'm back here giving y'all another banger. And since I'm giving y'all another banger, if y'all could go ahead and drop a like on this video, it'd be much appreciated, and please subscribe if you enjoy basketball content. But I do want to go ahead and start getting into today's video, which is going to be talking about Andre Drummond and other key targets that the Lakers are going to be having throughout this entire buyout market / trade deadline. So if you are not really familiar with how this NBA deadline and trades work, basically until March 25th, teams have the ability to trade players. After that, players might start to get bought out, which is when the team just buys out the rest of their contract and it becomes dead cap, and the player is free to choose where he wants to go. In the case for Andre Drummond, there's no real actual way for the Lakers to sign Andre Drummond because his contract is just too big, and you don't really want to trade away pieces to get Andre Drummond if he might not even sign with you the next season. So because his contract is so big and because it's kind of hard to move at this point in his contract, teams like the Brooklyn Nets and the Los Angeles Lakers and other teams that are hoping to contend for the title are waiting for Andre Drummond to get bought out, because it would be much easier for them to just sign them under their contracts and not have to give up anything to get Andre Drummond. Now, the Cavs have stayed consistent with it and have said that they are only going to wait until the trade deadline is really over with to see what they can get for Andre Drummond, because if you can get something back for Andre Drummond, you should absolutely do it. So barring anybody actually gives up something, which I don't think a lot of teams want to, because I think they know that they're in a tough spot regardless. If they don't see a trade package that they like, it is very likely that Andre Drummond will be bought out by the trade deadline, and he'll be able for any team to go out and try to get him. And according to Mark Stein, the Los Angeles Lakers have a lot of high praise when it comes to Andre Drummond, and that they are feeling optimistic about his chances of coming to LA. Now, I have no idea what's the background to this. Maybe LeBron or somebody in the Los Angeles facility might have just, broached it to him and had really reached out to Andre Drummond and made a pitch idea to him. And if that's the case, then that's certainly going to help. And if the Lakers did do that, then they're certainly feeling very optimistic about their chances. However, I do want to be very clear that it is possible for Andre Drummond to go to other places, such as the Brooklyn Nets, because they do have more money to offer. As it currently stands, the Los Angeles Lakers are hard capped because they signed Montrezl Harrell with their mid-level exception, and they used Wesley Matthews for their biannual exception. They are currently hard cap, which means basically if you're going to send out another player, you basically have to make sure that you're getting the same amount of money back, because you're not allowed to go over this certain hard cap. And while the Brooklyn Nets do have 3 players under a max contract, including another player, Joe Harris, who's also under a big contract, they do have a 5.7 disabled exception because Spencer Dinwiddie did go down with injury, which they could use to offer Andre Drummond in the case he wanted to sign with the Brooklyn Nets. So from a buyout perspective, it would make sense for the Brooklyn Nets to have the edge on the Los Angeles Lakers just from a financial and monetary position, because they can offer him more money. However, if the Lakers are looking to sign Andre Drummond and hopefully give him another contract in the next summer, then he could definitely come to LA. I think he knows all about the Lakers legacy and everything like that, so it could be appealing to him, and they're feeling optimistic. So this could be good news for Los Angeles Lakers fans who feel as though right now they're being a little bit stagnant. There's no trades, there's no real big signings yet, and you're seeing the Brooklyn Nets sign players like Blake Griffin. So it would be nice to see a team step up and, like the Los Angeles Lakers, and make a move so that, they don't seem stagnant when all these other teams are making moves as well. Now, I would say that it is probably a 45 to 50% chance that he lands with the Lakers. I am not completely sure of where he's going to go because I am not Andre Drummond, but I would give it a fair chance. If they're feeling very optimistic about their chances, then clearly they must have had a good relationship with Andre Drummond and the meeting must have went well. So, I would give the Lakers a fair chance when it comes to the Andre Drummond situation, just because it is LA and it's very attractive, especially to free agents. So only time will tell where Andre Drummond ends up. Even if he doesn't get bought out, it could be very possible that another team can make a trade for him, but it's going to be interesting to seeing where Andre Drummond ends up, and possibly it could be with the Los Angeles Lakers. But go ahead and comment down below what you think about Andre Drummond to the Lakers. Do you like it? Do you not like it? And do you think that this is something that's going to to actually happen, because I think there are some people who think that this is unrealistic and some people think that, oh, it might just be a done deal already. So let me know where you guys are when it comes to this Andre Drummond to the Lakers side of the story. But I do want to go over to some other key players that might be in play when it comes to the Lakers trading them, because we don't necessarily have a lot of assets, but we don't necessarily have any assets. We're kind of in between. So when you think about what the type of moves we might make when it comes to the Los Angeles Lakers, here are just some ideas that I think that the Lakers actually might pursue when it comes to the buyout/trade deadline. I think the Lakers are having their eyes on players like a DeMarcus Cousins, who has suddenly shown more interest with the Lakers. At first, they didn't really seem to show interest in DeMarcus Cousins, because when you think about it, what the Lakers need is a traditional big, and that's not really what DeMarcus Cousins is. However, he is definitely someone who can fit a role in a lineup, and I definitely think that he could help, a little bit with off the bench scoring at the center position. Like I said, he's not necessarily a rim protector, but you can take what you get, and DeMarcus Cousins to me is someone with a lot of upside, so I would not doubt going after him. Another name that always pops up is Hassan Whiteside. They might acquire him via trade, or they might buy him out. I'm not too sure about a buyout though, but they might make a trade for Hassan Whiteside, because the Lakers have shown tons of interest in Hassan Whiteside. And of course, the Lakers are going to survey the buyout market to see what type of players get bought out and where they end up. I also think a potential trade that could happen is a trade for Wayne Ellington, who is not necessarily a great defender, but he is a great shooter. He's shooting a career high 44% from the three-point line, and he had one of his best games against the Lakers a few games ago. So it's something that you could look out for when it comes to a trade. I'm not exactly sure what the specifics would be and who would they send out, but I know that Wayne Ellington is only on a 1-year, $3 million contract, so it really wouldn't be that hard to move, and it's somebody that is actually a realistic target when it comes to the Los Angeles Lakers. So we still have a lot of time until the trade deadline, and a lot of things are still going to have to come into fruition to see what's going to happen. I do believe the Lakers are going to survey the buyout market the most, because they really don't want to give out most of their assets that they already have, and they kind of want to keep the team as constructed. So you could probably see that they're going to make most of the moves in the buyout market, and you're going to expect at least Rob Pelinka to be aggressive and sign somebody, because that's just the type of GM that he is. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, but that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much. If you listened this far, please drop a like on this video. It'd be much appreciated, and please subscribe if you haven't already. If you enjoy basketball content, please check out my other videos. But without further ado, guys, I am out. Peace.